friends, it's Miss Drywa. How are you? So our character trait for this month is still responsibility. For the whole month of September, we'll be talking about responsibility. So today we're going to talk about, though, our responsibility when we're in school learning and when we are at home learning. Because we know a lot of our friends are either doing in-school learning or at home learning. But we also talked about that during the school year, even our friends that are in school could still at some point, we might have to clean the school and we'll have to go back to online learning altogether as a whole class. So it's important that we go over both of them. So we're going to be talking about responsibility, learning in person and learning at home. So our responsibility, what does that mean again? So being responsible means doing the things you're supposed to do, being dependable, so people can count on you, and accepting your consequences, both positive and negative, of your actions. So let's talk about this for a second. Doing the things you're supposed to do. So basically that just means the things that are asked of you or the things that you promised you were going to do, those are all things that we're supposed to do. Then being dependable so people can count on you. Again, that just means that when you say you're going to do something or someone asks you to do something, you do it, right? You don't kind of just say, oh, I'm sorry I didn't get to it, or you just don't do it, or you don't show. And accepting the consequences, positive and negative, of your actions. So sometimes when something happens or we do something, there's usually a consequence. There's positive and there's negative consequences. So if you study for your test, right, and you get an A on it, well, your actions were that you studied, and then the consequence is you got an A, so it's a positive one. But if you didn't study for your test and you got an F, you failed, or you didn't get any of the questions right, well, your actions were that you didn't study, and the consequence is that you didn't get a good grade, and that would be a negative consequence. So we have to accept that, though. Say, okay, well, that happened because I did this. That's being responsible. You're not blaming anyone. You're not making excuses. You're just being responsible and said, yep, I was wrong. I didn't study. So, let me move myself so we can see this, sorry. Where do we need to be responsible? Well, school, home, and really everywhere, right? We have responsibilities everywhere. Even just crossing the street, it's our responsibility to look both ways, make sure nobody's driving, to be safe, right? We have to be responsible everywhere. Same with myself. When I'm driving, I have to be a responsible driver, right? Just like if any of your parents or grandparents or aunts or uncles are driving, right? They have to be a responsible driver. So, being responsible while learning at home. Okay, I'm going to move myself up. So, learning at school. Sorry, friends. This right here, it looks like a boy and he's doing his work, right? So we always tell you, you've been to school before. This isn't your first time. We want you to do your work and we want you to try your best, right? Even if it's not right all the time, we want you to try your best. That's all we ask. We want you to be prepared, right? If you need a pencil, paper, have it with you, right? We don't have to wait for you to get your supplies when we've already started our work. Over here, we have somebody who's listening, right? We want you to be good listeners, right? To try your best. Listen at all times, in the hallway, on the playground, in the classroom. And we want you to be responsible for all of your belongings, including your desk. Anything in your desk is your responsibility, right? If you lose your book because you didn't put it away, that's your responsibility to keep an eye on your book and make sure you put it back where it belongs. Also, this says, I could be a super friend. Well, we want you to be responsible with being kind to others, right? And be a friend, because that's important. Now, when we're at home, a lot of them are the same, but some of them are a little different. So, being responsible while learning at home. Again, we want you to complete your work. We want you to do the best you can, and we want you to try your hardest. We want you to be prepared as well, right? If we're on Zoom for a lesson, bring a pencil if you think you're going to need it. Bring paper just in case. Again, we don't want to have to wait for you. This little boy looks like he's saying shh, right? We want you to find a quiet place in your house or apartment. Somewhere where there's not going to be any distractions, maybe any pets or siblings or parents talking in the background, because not only is it distracting to you, but everybody else in the class can hear it, and it can be distracting to them. But we also don't want to know your personal information that's going on at home. We don't need to hear what your parents are talking about, right? That's your personal life. We have no food. We ask you to try not to eat during our sessions because that can be distracting, right? And being a good listener. Even if you're not in the classroom, we still want you to try and be a good listener on Zoom. We know sometimes it gets hard, but that's when we ask friends to mute and unmute. But we're still going to be a good friend. We don't want anyone being mean to anyone, even on Zoom, right? We're all going to be the best we can. Those are responsible students, both learning at home and learning at Tiegerman, right? All right, friends. Good job. You have an activity for character education this week. You're just going to take a quiz and you're going to see how responsible you are. All right, friends. Great job. Bye.